Well, we survived April Fool's Day. Welcome to the Finance and Admin Committee. This is today Councilman Clent and Councilman Clay, Finance Officer Chandra Phillips, and City Attorney Paul Jensen. We have a guest today in the audience. That's Mike Scott, the Director of the Economic Development Director, or Winter Chamber and Economic Development. So, Chandra, I'm going to turn this over to you to let you guide us through this, and looks like we got, as usual, a full docket.
Well, you guys could come see me more than once every 2 weeks. Maybe it wouldn't be so busy, but I'm kidding. So first on it, we have Mike Scott here to discuss street closures. I did provide the policy and the form that he fills out for us every year too, for you guys to review, in case you're wondering why it's in the Finance Committee. Ultimately, it starts at the Finance Office, and then it gets disseminated out to Public Works, Public Safety, City Attorney, and then once I get an okay from all three of those, I send out a notification of approval, and we go from there. So, Mr. Scott, if you would like to present your case.
Okay. Just as in the past, I guess there's a little bit of change. I have two requests today. One is for June 19th. That's the date we're going to do our summer nights in June. That is a Wednesday night, a little different. We're trying to work around t-ball and golf and some things. I do have a map that I'll leave with you, Chandra, just showing kind of a layout. But we're requesting the second block. That's the block of Black Lab and that. The hours of that is from 6 to 9. We've got a full docket of activities planned from a band. We got a young band out of around the Pier area to inflatables. And we are going to do vendors, so I will have forms available for that. So but we're just starting to get a few phone calls on that, but so we are aware of that, and we will have those forms provided and filled out.
Mike, those are on the website too, so that anyone can grab them at any point in time.
Okay, so that's good to know. So I will, so that's kind of our event for June for our summer nights. The second request would be for July 27th. That is our Barbecue Pit Road Car Show. Basically the same as in the past. You know, from the stoplight, the first, second, third block on Main Street, and also requesting the half blocks on 3rd Street from Main Street to the alleys on 3rd. Probably the biggest change on the request this year is we're not having a band. The last several years we've had a band after the barbecue. So we're not having that. You know, the Elks Rodeo is going on that weekend too. So we just think it's the best thing just to get through the car show and the barbecue. And if there's entertainment to Black Lab, I'm sure, I know he's having something that evening at his place. So really that's the only, the first, second, third block, and then the half blocks on 3rd Street from Main Street, east and west to the alleys.
So you're going all the way to Fifth Street then, on Main?
Probably to, yeah, it'd be 5th. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like we have in the past, yeah.
Yep.
I'm good with them requests.
You don't go the 6th?
Huh?
You don't go in front of the old city office building? Wells Fargo home?
Right up to the, well, maybe I'm off. Right up.
No, that's fifth.
Yeah.
That's
the
fifth.
library.
That's 6. It's,
No, the 6th is the athletic center.
yeah.
No, Fifth is Wells Fargo.
Okay, yep.
Just
I
the
missed
Wells
that.
Fargo.
I missed that street
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah, just the Wells Fargo.
Okay.
good enough.
So,
Yep.
Okay, sounds good.
We've never had any complaints about Mike and not notifying the people on Main Street about what's going on. So, you know, there's definitely not any issues with the chamber and what they do as far as I'm aware from the public, unless you guys have heard more. So we'll get this information out to Public Works Director, Public Safety Commissioner too, because kind of goes along with what they're
I have
doing.
to say, I really commend, thank the city, Troy, his group, for getting everything, especially for barbecue. They spent a lot of time on getting the Main Street swept up, cleaned up, trash, and I do have to say thank you to the city on that. For that barbecue, it is it takes a lot of volunteers, a lot of man hours, and at the same time, our city's on display, our Main Street's on display. So I just wanted to make sure I recognize the city and Troy's people, because I know Troy will be out there hosing things down and helping with water trucks and picnic tables, and so it's really appreciated on our behalf. So just want to make sure this. You guys probably don't hear a lot of good stuff, usually the bad stuff every way, but the good stuff is thank you for that, so.
So on the dumpsters, after you request whatever extra dumpsters you need, you come to the city council, fill out a form, right? Is
So
that
they
the
can
process?
ultimately request them through Troy, Kelly.
Yep.
Then we create a bill.
Yep, that's
Then
what
they
I
bring
thought.
that bill back to this committee and ask for, yep, same as we did this last year. We do it at the end of the year so that your summer nights, barbecue pit row, all of it's taken care of. Your rodeo, bull riding event, that way everything's on there together and then you can ask at that point in time. So we do it at the end of the year.
Last year, trash was good. I mean, we're getting smarter at it too. The first couple of years, we weren't very smart. We just created havoc for ourselves. Not having enough dumpsters and stuff, you know. Just more work more than anything, but last year went really pretty smooth, so.
Okay, good.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yes,
Feel
it
free to
is.
stick around, Mike.
I think I'll take it back to work.
Don't forget your coat.
Yeah, I'm just gonna cut away.
Have a good day, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. So the next item is everyone's favorite subject, and phones. So for your guys' information, the phone system in our office, we've made a few changes. It now rings directly to somebody's desk where there is someone sitting. That does not mean it will always 100% of the time get answered, because they oftentimes do have customers at their desk, and if they have somebody at their desk, that takes priority over the phone ringing. But ultimately, it is now going to a desk where someone is sitting the majority of the time. It does ring one time before the automated system picks up. That was a complaint that I heard, is that it just automatically goes to the computer. We don't want to hear that. We want to know that it rings. So it rings one time, goes to the automated desk. The reason we have it go to the automated desk before anyone answers it is that is what Public Works requested. They didn't want us to be taking their phone calls, mayor and council to be taking their phone calls. It gives the people the opportunity to choose who they want to speak to, and then it goes to them. Now, even if they don't know who they want to speak to and they press 0, it's going to still ring to our office, to that desk, and somebody will still answer. So we've debated quite a bit on how to make it understandable to people in the community. We still have people who want to pay their bills, so they press 2 for accounts payable instead of 1 for utility billing. We're trying to do our best to,
Kind of makes sense.
you know, when they said it, I'm like, well, that's not my world of how I think of things, but I can see how you got there. So we talked about putting names on there. Every time somebody leaves or changes, then you have to change the voicemail. I don't know. I mean, that's definitely something I can still do. I can go back in and edit everything. But we are trying to make it easier for the community to be able to talk to someone. So the other side of that is, you guys had the cell phone policy in front of you just a couple weeks ago. You did approve it. There are quite a few times, especially with these meter swaps or needing purchase orders, we found that it's easier when the guys are out and about and we don't know what they're doing. Hey, give me a call when you have a chance. Hey, send me this meter number. Or they'll text us and say, hey, can you send me this address? Hey, will you set up an appointment for this? Don't have an issue with that. My issue is it's on personal cell phones. I have found an app online. It's called Grasshopper. There is no contract with it. It's monthly or annual, however you want to set it up, but zero contract, so you can get out of it at any point in time too. That it essentially is a texting, calling workstation. And it gives you your own local phone number to that workstation. So I looked at other apps. WhatsApp might be one that you guys might be familiar with. It's a similar one, but you have to use your personal number in order to activate it. Don't want that. That's still the same issue. So Grasshopper will give us 4 local numbers for $45, $41 a month. And you can text right from your computer. You can send photos. You can actually call, so if we were to ever get Bluetooth, we could call directly from there too if we need to talk to people. So it is an option out there for us in a way to make it so that we're not using our personal numbers to communicate back and forth. So
who do you think needs one?
accounts payable, HR, and utility billing. Those 3 do talk to department heads quite often.
But they can all be, all 3 can be logged into the same app.
Yes, all 3 different numbers
So it's
too.
just, well,
And the reason I say that is utility billing doesn't need to know what HR is sending out to department heads.
understand.
So that's why we wanted the separate numbers, because we don't need what's going on in HR. Utility billing doesn't know what's going on in utility billing. HR doesn't.
Is this through the
necessarily need to know.
computer?
Huh?
It's through a computer?
Yes.
I use it for my customer service.
It's 40 some bucks for 4 lines
Yes.
per month?
Yes. But I only need 3 lines because I have a city phone. So I'm trying to, they have an option for like 1 business line, and you can add on a couple for $9 a month. So the most it would be is $45 a month, but I think I can get it cheaper.
You said HR, billing,
HR, utility billing, and accounts payable, which accounts payable means the person who pays the bills. Does that make sense, Jeremy? Accounts payable?
As long as it's clear to the public when it comes in.
Right, and that's what we need to, I'm not sure what else to call that, I guess. So if you guys have suggestions, I'm all ears.
so the people, these people don't have a phone, so they'd be installed on their computer. The people
Yes.
that have a phone, it'd be on their phone?
It would, yeah, so those people that they communicate with have city-issued phones.
Yeah, I know, but is this an app on their phone then?
Nope, you can text directly to, you could text my number, I could text your number from this app. You can text or call any number in the world. So that was the other nice part, is we didn't have to, like with WhatsApp, in order to use it, that person has to have WhatsApp on their phone too. This is just a simple texting app. So it had a free 7-day trial, so we tried it out. And from what I can tell, it's going to do exactly what we're looking for. I think I'm only gonna do 1 month currently. See how it goes with the department heads.
So I can text to my email, but I've never tried the email to my text. You can't go back the other way?
You can, but it's very clumsy. So we've tried that before, sending photos, like when they're sending pictures of meter numbers and stuff like that. Oftentimes it didn't come through, or it would come through in a different, one time, I don't know, our former electric guy, who was kind of IT, would do that, but then he'd also have to make sure he sent it in a certain script, or it would come over in like Chinese to us. And so, and I don't know if that's because we're using the email that we're using. I don't know.
I just never tried to go the other way.
Yeah.
Got it in your budget, $540 or whatever?
I believe I can find that by stopping buying water for everyone. I'm kidding.
I thought you had donations on that.
The pop is donated, yes, we don't pay for that. And actually, city council pays for the water.
I thought your budget was paying for, or you personally is paying for the,
For the pop,
oh,
the pop and the goodies, that comes out of donations, quote unquote. Every once, like if our budgets are tight, your budget, my budget are tight at the end of the year and we need water, then yeah, I'll say that we pay for the water, but except yesterday because we didn't go because it was kind of gross out. So sorry, we were out of water yesterday and today. That's why, Jeremy, I'm not comfortable with paying for 1 year. I kind of just want to go month to month right now, because if it's not going to work, if we don't utilize it, I don't know that I do have that in my budget for sure.
I think it'd be fine to use it through getting these meters installed and, after that, I guess I don't know that we really need it, but I can see where it would be handy with appointments and,
Anytime we shut someone off due to non-payment or anything like that, we'll send out a text to, I think there's about 5 of us on that group text now. Cemetery, anytime there's a burial, we send it out to the cemetery department that there's a burial.
I'm sure it's cheaper than getting everybody a phone.
Oh, it's way cheaper. Those are $45 a piece.
Yeah.
And we talked about doing that, just getting one phone for the office, but again, then we had the HR complications. So if you see a number come through and it says it's Brandy, Holly, Rhonda, and it's a weird number that you've never seen before, it's quite possibly legit.
so it's if Brandy sent a message to me, everybody that's on this sees it?
No. It'll be just like texting.
Oh.
But we do have group messages that we send out.
Oh,
But yeah, nope, it'll be just like texting.
okay.
Give it a try. I'm not familiar with it. Sounds like the mayor's familiar with it.
Do you use that specific app? Is that
Yeah.
the one you use? Oh, really?
It is,
And you like it?
yes,
Okay.
we wouldn't survive without it. Our model's a little different, but
Right.
when it comes to customer service, that was the best thing I saw in the market. And
Yeah.
that's 3 years ago.
Same company.
Same company, yep.
Okay. Try it out.
And no, I didn't suggest this to her. She found it on her own, and I'm like, sure, I agree.
Authorized signatures. We talked about this at the last finance committee. Mr. Jensen said he would draft something. So ultimately, the only time we ever found in ordinance or policy, other than job descriptions, as to who could be signers on the city accounts, was when it came to pre-authorization of expenditures. So the 300,000 that I can do for payroll or MRES type deals, that was the only time it said who could sign the checks. This ultimately spells it out very clearly, who can sign it. It does, the very last sentence, provided however that certain special accounts such as prisoner fund accounts have different signature requirements established by resolution. We have that lieutenants and lieutenant leadership up then has the authority to sign there. We do not have the council president and vice president on the prisoner trust account, just because I'm pretty sure you guys don't want phone calls at 3 a.m. asking you to come sign a check when a prisoner's checking out. So we have the money market accounts, our main checking account, our NSF account, and I guess there's 2 money market accounts. So there's 4 accounts that these folks have their names on. This is what we've been doing. We just didn't have it in policy. Now it's going to be set by ordinance. So we can take this to the ordinance committee as well, but since it started here, we thought we'd bring it back here and then move forward from there if you guys are okay with that.
I'm good.
Postage machine. So, there are not very many people who do postage machines the way the city of Winter utilizes it. I was able to get 2 quotes. Pitney Bowes, who we currently use, they were $184 per quarter. Quadient is the other one, and they were $171 per quarter. They pretty much quoted me the exact same machine as what we currently have. It's a 60-month lease. This information has been sent to Mr. Jensen for review. I'll let you speak as to if you agree to it or not, but those were the only quotes I could find. So I would say we no longer go with Pitney Bowes, and we go with Quadient, the new company.
What's the look couldn't find?
I looked for a third quote. I
Oh.
could not find someone who could give us the same as what we currently have.
Gotcha.
There was a lot of super big postage machines out there that
So
you didn't want those numbers
Our current contract's up then or something?
as of June 1st.
Okay.
The other thing, so currently, electric pays for this. Finance office manages it, electric pays for it. It's a budgetary thing. If you want this to come out of the finance office budget in the future, rather than the electric budget, we can sure take that over. Just understand, essentially, somebody's gonna pay for it anyways, because finance office doesn't make, we bring in a lot of money, but we don't actually officially make any money.
To me, makes more sense to put it in your budget and then you pay for it instead of it being in the electric budget. I understand why they did that, because the electric was the revenue, and instead of transferring more money, they just took it out of that account. But it just seems like,
Yep. It's the same thing we did with the utility billing clerk. Years and years ago, they were paid out of electric because that's where the money was.
you know,
So I have no issue with moving it during the budget season, if that makes the most sense. Because I can pretty much guarantee, I don't even know if Kurt would know where the postage machine is in our office that he's paying for. And we do utilize it for other things too. I'm not gonna say that it's strictly used for utility billing. If an HR mailing goes out, if Mr. Jensen sends something out, code enforcement, which code enforcement pays for their own, but, I think that might be the easiest way, rather than trying to separate it by each individual department like was previously asked for. It would just, that would be almost an impossible task for us. Because when it comes to mailing out your checks, that's every department. And if I had to separate it by that, that would be very hard. But it is a 60-month lease, so
60 month.
I do need permission to send it to full council.
Yeah.
That's long.
That's typical of what we've had in the past with Pitney.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, you get a brand new machine if you sign, at least up with them again. So like this machine we have in there, as of June 1st, I'll have to mail it back to Pitney, but they'll send me the box and everything. Next item is just an FYI, malt beverage renewals. They will be at the May 6th meeting, and then I'll get them mailed off to the state. The state says that they have to be back by the middle of May, so that they can get them all processed, so that they are good to go for July 1st. And we have, I believe, 13 malt beverage licenses throughout the city of Winter.
what's the fee for those?
$300 per
Is that
year.
to the city or to the state?
150 is to the city, 150 is to the state. So they send 2 checks each time, one to me, or one, not to me, one to the city of Winter and one to the South Dakota Department of Revenue. We have a refund coming our way from South Dakota Municipal League Workman's Comp for $29,346. The way this works is we get audited every year. Vacation, sick leave, holidays, those type of pay come out of what we're actually paying in salaries. So our workman's comp is based off of salaries. Obviously, there's, the danger of the job goes into it too, but salaries is the majority of it. So when they take the sick leave, the vacation, the holidays, all of that out of that payroll, it usually creates a refund for us each year. Then they also look at, did you actually utilize it? Did you need it as much? So then there's, your loss control credit can go up or down too, based on if you used it. So this is 2023's payrolls that they looked at. They just came and audited us about a couple months ago, and 29,000. And it will go back into those individual funds miscellaneous accounts.
Are you gonna charge the funds that were short? I mean, the city attorney's like 88 cents long.
I
We
know.
gotta charge that account.
That's right.
No, seriously.
It does actually, so if they actually owed more, then yes, it will show as a charge on that account.
But that affects their budgets. And I don't know,
So technically, general fund, where he's in the general fund, it's still a negative.
I'm seriously looking at like the water department. They're $918,
Yep.
park 786 short.
Yeah.
Those two are the big ones,
The water.
the water and the parks.
So parks was part of the general fund, so it's still gonna be just that 2,159.
Okay,
Yeah, water is the only one that really comes across that it's going to hit their
All right.
budget.
I was told I had to chip in my 88 cents.
Oh, but, I mean, if you want to, go for it.
actually, we as mayor and council owe $7.81, guys,
Collectively,
collectively. Jeremy, are you willing to throw in for all of us?
75 cents.
No, for all of us, you
No.
willing to? No? Okay.
Why are we long on work comp?
So again, it's based off of the salaries. So what
Oh.
they originally give us is based off of our budget. If we use more than what we budgeted, if we pay
Extra
out
meeting.
more than what we budgeted,
Extra
then,
meetings or whatever.
Yep.
Creates more exposure. Okay.
I'm gonna skip down to the very last one real quick, because that's the last page that you have in this group for you. The RFP for the carnival. That RFP will be opened on April 15th, and then presented to council that night at that meeting. This is based off of the cabinet, going through. There's a few things that did change. First one is we asked for 15 rides instead of 13 rides. They've been providing 13 rides including, like, the slide is considered a ride, the little thing where you walk through the mirrors or whatever, that's considered a ride too. So that's why we upped it to 15. We asked that they do not accept any tickets from other carnival dates, that they can only accept tickets from our carnival since they're asking for so much money guaranteed. And then we would ask that we could pre-sale wristbands as well. Last year, we did come up short. The Spirit Gems did an amazing job of trying to get it out there and sold, but ultimately, we're not able to meet the goal. And then the city, as I believe it was you, Austin, that said this, it was still $5,000 for a weekend that brought in probably that much in sales tax, so it was worth it. But just a few things that maybe could help us in the long run if we could pre-sale those and then not accept tickets from other dates as well. I sent it out to 3 individual carnivals, 2 of which we have worked with in the past. Greg Henderson, what family?
Greg Hughes.
Greg Hughes, who is he with?
He was the one out of,
Family fun show.
Yeah, family fun. Okay. The current company that we're using, and then there's another one that started in South Dakota, and I'm not gonna remember the name of it now that I need to. Super nice guy, lives in Tennessee now, and actually does carnivals around the area too. And so he was going to see if it was something he could fit into his schedule too. Just see who's willing to quote on it, so. As far as legislation, I don't have a ton of answers, but I want you to know that it's going to be, as soon as I get my answers, you guys are gonna see a few things in front of you requesting to change a few ordinances. These are some of the things that we talked about the other day, Jody. So special event, state statute changed. Right now, as it is, a special event can only be issued to an on-sale liquor license. So that's when Elks, Mona, whoever wants to go over to
Black
St. Mary's
Lab.
Hall, Black Lab,
Pheasant.
whoever wants to go over to St. Mary's Hall, they can be open at both locations. It's a special event for 48 hours. It is now my
They
understanding.
can go to St. Mary's Hall? I thought it had
They
to be
can be-
open to the public.
They can't, so they can go to a public-owned area, which means there does not have to be
30
a
days.
public hearing. Or if they go to a private-owned area, there has to be a public hearing.
Oh, they still can do it, it just has to go through a public hearing.
Yes.
which is a
I
30-day.
didn't think they could go to a private area without transferring their license and shutting that business down.
Used to be that way,
Even at a privately owned, you can do that if there's a public hearing.
yes.
That was my confusion on it, okay.
As of July 1st, from what I read, and I'm getting clarification from the people who wrote it, any license that is issued in your city can apply for a special event, and there is no public hearing requirements, no matter if it's public or private owned. So what we've done with our liquor license laws in the city of Winter is we follow the state. So if that's what we would be wanting to do again, when I get that clarification, Mr. Jensen and I can work on getting that amended in our ordinances.
Also, malt liquor.
Yeah,
to
so
clarify.
on-off malt beverage would be able to qualify for a special event. So that does not mean they could sell liquor. You would still only be able to sell what you have a license for.
Right.
So there are times, benefits, whatever, that probably only want to have beer or South Dakota wine, because they don't want people getting stupid drunk. So they could just do a malt beverage license. And because it's a special event, it could be at both locations.
I'm in favor of following the state.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, that's been our protocol for several things.
Especially on the liquor license laws, we've really just said we follow the state on it, so. House Bill 1055 changed the amount of surplus property. So right now, if anything is valued at $500 or less, you do not have to advertise that you're selling it. As a government agency, you can sell it to first come, first serve, any private sale, however you want to do it. They now up that to $2,500. In the actual bill, it did not specify if you still needed 3 real property owners to show that it's valued at less than 25, so I did ask for clarification.
Spell that word. ROWREAL. What did you say? Property owners.
Real, REAL.
Real. I
Yes.
couldn't hear what you said.
Sorry.
Okay.
Real property owners. What that means is it can't be somebody who just rents, they have to own
I
property in the
just
city
didn't
limits.
hear that word clearly.
Oh, sure. So once we get that changed, I don't believe that's in our ordinances anywhere, it's just a state law.
I
So
don't
we
think
would
it
just
is.
make sure that it gets disseminated out to our department heads so that they can know that. They changed the travel reimbursements so that certain departments in the state can actually reimburse at a higher rate than what the state reimbursement is. Ultimately, that does not affect us from what we can tell. We'll still follow the published rates that's out there, and we'll continue to move forward with that. So just wanted to let you know, it does not change what the city is doing. Senate Bill 12 was dealing with medical marijuana. It definitely gave more control back to the local government, which was a big deal this year. They were really trying to focus on keeping control in the local government on some places, and then in other places, they were really trying to take it away.
Sounds like they're washing their hands of it. You guys figure it out.
They did that on another bill that's coming up too, so,
Which one?
another liquor license bill.
So does that mean they're gonna take less money if they're washing their hands of it?
No, they upped their rates.
Yeah.
They're just saying that you guys can still spell out the zoning. You can't make it so that there's 0. You cannot do that still. But when it comes to like your HR policies, safety sensitive is still a thing. Make sure you have them listed, which I believe Mr. Jensen did a very good job of. Was that you or Amanda? Shoot, I don't remember.
I did.
Whoever the attorney was did a very good job, sat down with department heads and really defined what safety sensitive was. Not everyone liked all of it, but ultimately, if you have a safety sensitive job or CDL by state standards, you cannot utilize your medical marijuana card. Correct. That's just the rule. If you do not have a safety sensitive job, which we could not find a way to make it so that code enforcement, finance office, parks could be considered a safety sensitive job, you can utilize your medical marijuana card. You still cannot be high at work. That is.
You're talking about city employment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. You still cannot be high at work, but if you ate a gummy the night before, then got chose for a random drug test the next morning, and you have a medical marijuana card, we ultimately couldn't fire you.
Can't be
for
high
that.
at work and you can't be using on the job.
Yes,
Well, that stands to reason. It's kinda like drinking. You can't drink on the job either.
right.
That's right.
Same principle.
Yep. this will be a little tougher to tell. People with their little chewables and gummies or whatever. Yep.
Senate Bill 148. Tripp County, I think, actually kind of got on this. So that is the liquor license law. The liquor license ultimately says that if a business has not utilized or been open for at least 60 days to the public in the previous 2 years, then the state can deny it, deny the renewal. It's always been the state's job to deny that. As you guys, I'm sure, have heard in the news, Tripp County denied at a local level because of the 60 days, and now they're going through litigation on it. Senate Bill 148 is saying, here you go, locals. You get to deny
It's
it now.
local, yeah.
Yep, so now it'll be a local decision to verify if they have been open for 60 days in the last 2 years.
Yep.
I mean, there's been one time that that's been an issue in the city of Winter, and what they'd always told us at the state level was as long as they've sold at least 60 drinks in the previous 2 years and their taxes match up to that, that shows that they've been open, so.
60 drinks? They could do
Yeah.
that on one night.
Yeah, but one per day
That's an-
is the minimum,
But
so,
if they do it on one night,
yeah.
that's how they look at it.
You'll, no, ish.
How they used to.
Because you should have been proclaiming sales tax for at least 2 months in those 2 years too.
So
So
if
you
you-
have to report your sales
The
tax.
the
too.
same one we're all thinking about. If they host events in 2 different months and they sell in excess of 60 drinks, they're good. That's all we have
The
to.
state has allowed it
Pretty
up to
much.
this point.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Yeah, because they weren't open consecutive 60 days.
No.
But,
Yeah, and it does
and
not
I'm not
say,
looking to try and pull it. I just want to know what the, especially if they're pushing it down to us, what had the state been using as a guide?
And that's really the key, is for us to follow the same protocol that the state has established.
Yeah.
Because under this new statute, we're not given any extra authority as far as going out there and demanding business records and things like that to make these determinations. We're just kind of operating on the same way that the state did.
Two sales tax
Yeah.
returns filed, 60 drinks,
Yep.
minimum of one a day they gotta do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be interesting, that'll be an interesting lawsuit. Doesn't involve the city of Winter for once.
I know. Woo-hoo. Newspapers. The only bill that changed anything with your local newspapers is it discussed the rates that can be charged. So it came up with a formula. In previous years, it's always been just a set rate. Now they're including a CPI formula into what they can charge you based on how many subscriptions they have. They did not, from what I can tell, and I'm getting clarification from someone who's involved a lot more than I am in the legislation stuff. From what I can tell, the one got dropped about being able to choose it different than your local if they can publish at a more timely manner. So,
And it has to be print, correct?
yep, that one keeps getting dropped too, that cities shouldn't have to be required to put it into print because everything's online. But for whatever reason, legislation keeps dropping it because they still like the print side of things, so.
I don't think they'll ever win that battle when they force somebody to have a computer or smartphone to read stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
They won't.
TNR was officially approved by the governor. That's all I'm gonna say about that one.
TNR.
Trap, neuter, release. She signed the bill. It was one sentence that ultimately made it
Yep.
legal to release.
legal to release, yeah.
Yep.
I guess if you guys want to know, as far as our workman's comp, they are aware that we are doing this. In the last 8 years, I'm only aware of one claim ever being submitted, and it was not for a cat, it was for a dog. Although, and I said this to the mayor last night too, if we have employees that are giving out private information, that needs to be addressed.
It will be.
And our liability insurance has been notified of this as well. I did speak with Lynn, who is the executive director of South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance. We can do what we want. If we choose to be in charge of it, we need to make sure that we've got a ton of signage around, hey, City of Winter has a live trap posted here, here, here. If your animal gets trapped in it, you know, make sure you tell us right away that your animal is missing, type of things. It was her recommendation. Ultimately, we find a third party to donate funds to, and they kind of take responsibility of it. Or if we want to loan out or rent out our traps, then that's fine too. We have them available, but it's just a checkout process type of deal, then we can do that too. There's just not enough history or knowledge of what kind of liability can come down onto a city if they take responsibility of accidentally trapped. The feral ones isn't the issue. It comes down to when you accidentally trap somebody's pet. But, you know, like your ordinance said, it makes it illegal for it to have left their property.
Yeah.
So it did address the pets last night, that ordinance did. So then I think, you know, you guys are headed in the right direction, but. The cybersecurity bill did go through. There's $7 million out there for local governments. They essentially want to set up a group like the K-12. So if you have anyone who works for the school system in South Dakota, you know that they all have a K-12 email system. The state has their own email system, state.sd.us. They would like to set something like that up. They feel that it could be safer if they have one group ultimately guarding all of that. It's not maintaining or guaranteeing that anyone has to be a part of it.
The problem with that is once they get it, they got everybody.
So that was brought up in a lot of this. They said since it started with K-12, it happened one time and it only affected one school and it affected them for 24 hours. I don't know enough about it. I'm hoping that they're gonna set up a committee and get people more educated on it. I just don't know enough about it. I know that we're very susceptible, which is why we required each one of our managed ITs to provide cybersecurity insurance when they come through, because ultimately they're monitoring our systems. So, and if they get hacked, we get hacked. So there are some election laws that went into effect, but most of that was protecting the elected officials and the election board workers. Essentially, it made it a high misdemeanor if you verbally threaten somebody who is elected or an election worker. I believe those were considered emergency and went into effect
Yeah,
as
they
soon
went
as the
into effect
government
before
or
this
governor
election
signed
now.
them.
Yeah.
So
They're in effect now.
I can't say that I've ever seen, truthfully, this last election was the most hostile one I saw. It was even more hostile than Main Street. We actually got the city attorney involved in one situation because there was somebody, what's the word? Advocating
Yes.
within 100 feet for how you should vote.
The last election?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
The last vote.
That's a
Not
fine,
election.
isn't it?
Oh,
What's that?
Isn't that a fine?
It's a
So
crime.
I did not hear it, and so we sent the city attorney to go after the person that we were told heard it. Until you get that verification from that person, unfortunately, you have to have
That's it.
somebody who goes on record.
the last vote, not election.
Correct.
We know who said it and we know who heard it, but the one who heard it declined to go on record.
Boy, I would have.
Yeah.
Any questions for me?
Is that it?
That's what I have for now, yeah.
Good. I have to run.
You finished 9 minutes early.
Yeah.
I was scared I wouldn't finish on time, so.
Here you go. You can have that stack.
Oh, thanks. You don't want to keep it and
No,
read it?
I have plenty. If that's it, I'm off.
I'm pretty sure you will never get Mr. Hawkins'